So today I want to talk about something that sounds like almost too big, right? And it's the idea of what is the key to success. Well, there are many, many keys to success. I want to be clear about that. But there are some causations that matter. In fact, one of the causations, which I'm not even really going to talk about in any detail today, would be a decision. I have other things on decision making and what happens. The most powerful thing in the world is a decision. Nothing gets set into motion without a decision. But when it comes to success and what happens in success, there are a lot of people who will maybe make a decision to do something but not follow through on the decision. What is that gap between the decision and actually what makes success actually happen for somebody? And I'm a little bit dubious when somebody talks about the grand picture of success, but I know so many tremendously successful people that adhere to this principle, and you likely are one of them. But here's the key to success. The key to success is doing what you do not feel like doing. And it really must be that simple. When I was in my 20s and people would ask me, crazy people, because I didn't know anything in my 20s, but if they would ask me that question, what's the key to success, I'd have maybe a full encyclopedia of an answer because I was trying to figure it out. I was basically just kind of putting as much inertia into things as I possibly could. In my 30s, I was able to narrow it down a little bit. By the time I hit 40, it was maybe a paragraph. And as I'm approaching 50, I've really understood that it has become this very simple thing. The key to success is doing what you don't feel like doing. And this always ties back to virtue, which is something that I'm going to talk about a lot, because virtue is the muscle of the will. It is the thing that drives out vice. If you're going to have laziness or sloth or anything like that, and you can't do something, you can't just replace it with nothing. You have to replace it with the virtue to have fortitude to move forward. You basically need to do what you don't feel like doing. Now, companies spend billions of dollars in our economy trying to motivate people. Motivating people really doesn't work. There's all sorts of studies that show that you can't motivate somebody. But what you can do is you can re-inspire their already motivated. There are people who are motivated and kind of people who are not motivated. They have to make that decision all on their own. It's not an external thing. But externally, what you can do is re-inspire already motivated people. And that's a major key thing. In fact, it is likely, if you're watching this right now, you're a motivated person, and maybe you're already inspired. You don't need anything. But it's also likely that if you're like me and most people, that reinvigoration, the new inspiration matters. And what does it do? It empowers you to do what you don't feel like doing. You know, all great things come from that. Ingoing and outcoming, okay? You have to resist things. I feel, okay, like eating more. I shouldn't do that. I don't feel like working out. I should do that. I feel like spending. I shouldn't do that. I don't feel like saving. I should. I feel like going to the beach. I have to resist that. I don't feel like making my phone calls, okay? So it comes down to that. Why is that so important? Why is it important to summarize this in a short-term way like this? Well, it's very simple. It's because if you are right now going throughout your day doing only what you feel like, you're not on a path of success. You're not on a path of self-gratification or of gratification, I should say. Maybe it's short-term self-gratification. You're not on a path of good long-term gratification. But if you are right now doing things you don't feel like doing, you are building the muscles of virtue. You are absolutely smothering those flames of vice that come up, and you're becoming great. But it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a while for this to work. The amount that you can basically metaphorically lift in doing what you don't feel like doing, when you do it over and over and over again, becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. So go for it. Have fun. Simple. Ask yourself right now, today, was my day filled with, or is it about to be filled with doing things I don't feel like doing? Then you're on the path to greatness.